Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and to another book review. I have been getting into this habit of reviewing every book I read and I'm quite happy about that. So hopefully I stick to this. And today's book is going to be Stasiland, Stories from Behind the Berlin Wall by Anna Thunder. It's this little guy here, full of little sticky notes. You might have seen this book in my unboxing video. By the way, I have new glasses. You can see them here. Just updating you on that. So, yeah, I was saying that you might have seen this book in my unboxing video. I read it and yeah, I thought I wanted to, talk a little bit about it with you guys. And I am timing myself for this video because I've been making 20 minutes review videos, which is just not okay. So I just want to make this one 10 minutes. Okay, already so much rambling. Let's just get into it. Okay, so this is a collection of essays, even though it's not really essays, but it's just like a collection of stories, but not stories, so it's a reporting work. Anna Thunder is a reporter, and in the end of the 90s, which is 1996, she moves to Berlin from Australia. She's Australian, and she decides to meet people who are living on Eastern Germany, meaning the GDR, the German Democratic Republic. Communist Germany, separated by the western side by the famous Berlin Wall. So she goes there and she wants to meet these people, and she basically meet the people and hear their stories. And this book is the result and the fruit of all these meetings, this conversation, this research work after she met these Eastern Germans. And yeah, reports their stories here. So this is a very much journalistic style of storytelling, even though at some point it really felt like fiction, because she's such a good reporter and such a good storyteller. So even though everything is non-fiction, she made sure to hook the reader and just make us feel like we are, just fully immersed in a fictive work. Yeah, so she met a couple of people, and through these people we learn so much about East Germany, or the Eastern world, but in particular East Germany. Now, I don't know for you guys, but when I was taught history in high school, we learned a lot about, of course, Moroccan history, because I am Moroccan, so we learned about colonialism and these kind of things, but also obviously about World War I and World War II, but it usually stops there at the end of 1945, and of course we have these 2 or 3 little paragraphs that talk about things that happened right after 1945, like, oh, the UN were established, the United Nations were established in 1948, and Israel declared itself a nation in 1948, and oh, and by the way, there were also a Cold War, because the world was divided into two, an eastern part and a western part, and communism and capitalism and all of this fun thing where one side was controlled by the Russians or the URSS, and the other part was, controlled by the Americans. So yeah, it was just that, and we never fully went into this part of history. Until really lately, I've got to visit and see the Iron Curtain. The Iron Curtain is the big border that was separating these two worlds, not only in Germany, but also the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland. So it was in one of my trips with school, and we saw the Iron Curtain area that was separating Germany and the Czech Republic, which was back then Czechoslovakia. It was such a very strong moment, and I wanted to learn more about what was going on the other side, because I feel that it is not very much documented. And this is what Anna Thunder did for us with this really interesting piece of literature, which is also the winner of the Samuel Johnson Prize for Nonfiction. And it's really well deserved because it's a great work of reporting. once again. So she basically focused on the Stasi, which was the secret services of the GDR or Eastern Germany, and she speaks a lot about how these secret services were controlling the people over there and really controlling their lives, making them like take decisions and make choices that are not really choices, and in case they refuse, their life was just like turned upside down. We follow the adventures of someone who lost their husband and never knew what happened to their bodies. We follow the adventures of one person who was separated with her kid that was sick and had to be sent to West Germany to be treated there but could not visit him. We follow the paths of people who tried to you know, escape with them from the East Germany to the western part, and because we know that everyone who tried to climb the wall was shot. We also follow the stories of some Stasi men, so people who worked with the secret services that, you know, were just like destroying people's life, and we learn a lot about like how they kept these files on every single person and how every single citizen of East Germany or the GDR was watched, and all his life or her life was filed. So she speaks about this, and she speaks about how all of these things turned into museums now in Leipzig and Berlin. And she also she went and she met some really main figures in this history, like the guy who designed the borders of the wall, and she also met this guy who was having this like he broadcasted this TV program where he was just like sitting there and clashing the Western world and how terrible capitalism is, which, I mean, you know, there are different opinions, and you know, capitalism is not great, it's far from being great. And she also discussed about, you know, how these people were not against communism, because communism has had a really good, you know, impact on employment, on poverty, but they were against the system and the way these people were watched and controlled. And so she tells everything through the stories that she talks about here. Yeah, so it's a multi-perspective, so we got perspective from people and from the Stasi, former Stasi members, but we can clearly feel her perspective, because that's another thing that's really great with this book, is that her voice is so present and it does not fade away among the stories of other people. She tells about her story as well, not in a super you know, subjective way, like, but she's clearly defending her ideas and really talking about what she thinks is right and what she thinks was wrong. And so she says it, and she makes sure we get her point and her perspective, so she's not a super neutral figure, and which I love, because I don't think that a reporter should always be neutral. This is my own opinion. It was a good example of how you can have a voice but still report the stories of the people, and at the end of the day it is her work, so she chooses what kind of tone she wants to have throughout her storytelling. And yeah, that was the point that I wanted to make super clear. And she also, what I really loved about this book is just like, it does not only present the final work, like, okay, Miriam's story, and she tells Miriam's story. No, we are actually involved in the entire process of the reporting. The moment she gets to Berlin, how she traveled to Leipzig, how she sees these people, how she meets these people, how she gets like network, and everything, like where she lives, the neighbors she speaks to, the entire process of going and meeting these people, at what time, where, how did she get to meet them, through which medium. So we really know everything, and we are completely immersed. So if you guys want to learn more about that geopolitic or that, you know, geo-historical part, I would highly recommend this book, because again, we are very much exposed to the story of people, so it's such a social aspect, and I really love that. And you learn so many historical facts, and these are all the sticky notes. They correspond to facts that happened with the construction of the Berlin Wall, the separation, the fall of the Berlin Wall, what follows the fall of the Berlin Wall, and it's such an interesting insight. It's also really well written. She's a good writer. It's a beautiful writing, not in a beautifying kind of lyrical way, but it's a really good journalistic kind of writing, and I really love it. So yeah, it's definitely a very hidden part of history that we don't necessarily like go and fetch but yeah, this is a really nice read if you're looking to deepen your knowledge and your insight into this side of history. So yeah, and you can learn so many little things as you can see here. Yeah, that's it for my review. I think I did well. I don't know, maybe it was 10 minutes, so that's something. Thank you so much guys for being around. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not subscribed yet. If you think that this video should reach friends, family, and that you think they might be interested in this book, you can share it on Facebook, on YouTube, whatever you want. And thank you so much for sticking around. It means a lot to me. I love you so much, and I'm sending you so much love and so many hugs and everything nice. Have a great rest of the day if you're watching this in the morning. Have a good night if you're watching this in the evening. And yeah, keep smiling. Bye!